meeting. Thanks for joining us today. I just wanted to start off by recognizing BJ and Aerosman for reviewing add-ons last week. Thank you so much, BJ and Aerosman, for keeping our add-ons hosted on our platform, making sure that they're safe and secure. We really appreciate it. So I'm just gonna dive right in. This is old news, but new since the last time we had a community meeting. So a couple of weeks ago, Mozilla went through a pretty large reorganization. There were layoffs. About 5% of Mozilla's workforce was laid off. I mean, layoffs are always unpleasant, and this was, also unpleasant. What I will say is that so far, no one working directly on add-ons has been affected, and we're not planning on additional layoff rounds at the moment. So what this means basically is just that you might see fewer faces around if you're involved in other Firefox or other Mozilla projects. We're going to be trying to run a little bit leaner in the future. And what this also means is that during the reorg, the entire add-ons team, which had been reporting into a couple of different structures, is now consolidated into one unit reporting into the main browser group. So this is good for add-ons. Before we, nobody really knew where we fit, and now we're considered part of the core part of the core browser. So that's good. Oh, hi, Shane. So for community, it probably doesn't make much. Your experience is probably not going to be different, with the exception of maybe some folks that you're used to seeing around may no longer be around. But what we're hoping this will happen is that when incidences arise, they'll get escalated faster and into one centralized place. So hopefully we can get resolution on incident resolution a little bit faster. And hopefully it'll also make it so that we spend less time having to create documents and like creating redundant documents in different places. So hopefully this will make things a little bit better. I've linked to the blog post that Mozilla propped up, so feel free to read that or share it. And I guess I'll just ask if there are any questions about the reorg. Okay, good times. Okay, so following the reorg, we went to Berlin for an all hands meeting. So Mozilla hosts company-wide all hands about twice a year. This year, this January, we were in Berlin. So this is a time to kind of meet and have face-to-face conversations and do face-to-face planning with everybody in one time zone and one location, which is really helpful, especially when you're working with distributed teams. A lot of the sessions were recorded, or a lot of the larger sessions were recorded. If you have a Vouch Mozillians profile, you can access the plenaries. I highly recommend the Thursday plenary on cross-cultural communication. The speaker is really engaging and fun, and I actually learned a lot from that about cross-cultural work styles and communication preferences. And then the opening plenary, the Firefox all hands and the Firefox Q&A, I'll kind of dig a little bit deeper about the reorg and what that means and what the layoffs mean and what the future of Mozilla is. So some other things that we did most of our planning had already been done by the time that we got to Berlin. So a lot of the add-ons meetings were about moving projects forward, kind of like aligning with other teams and figuring out how we could integrate. We spent a little bit of time talking about the monetization project. So we had started research a couple weeks ago onto how can we help developers succeed. How do we help extension developers succeed? So we spent a little bit of time kind of talking about what those preliminary findings were, and kind of just to share some preliminary results. A lot of different developers have a lot of different needs, but kind of some of the recurring things we heard was, it would be really great if there was a frictionless payment method. So, you're in the browser, you've got the extension, and it's just really easy to do a one-click send money to a developer. A lot of people were saying that. A lot of people were talking about retaliation from users. So getting negative reviews for asking for money, and is there a role that Mozilla can play to kind of mitigate some of that user backlash? So we'll keep y'all updated as that project moves forward. We're still in the research phase, and we'll be there for a little while. So kind of when that phase closes out and we start looking at kind of brainstorming some possible ideas, like once we get a better understanding of the user problems and we get start brainstorming some solutions out, we can definitely take those back to this group. All right, Sylvana, Jorge, and Shane were all at the all hands. Is there anything about the all hands that you'd like to add?
I would say, as you said, the Thursday plenary was really something. Everybody should at least watch it. And I had a great time talking to the people involved with the recommended extensions program. So this is going forward at a nice pace, and there should be very nice new add-ons going into recommended pretty soon.
That's awesome. And then there was just probably a lot of meetings for Jorge and Shane.
There were lots of those, yes. I'm trying to remember what I did. Well, there are a lot of things related to Phoenix or Firefox for Android. Maybe, I don't know if we're going to talk about that in this meeting, but there's a blog post that Philip published a few days ago explaining like the initial extension support in Phoenix, and yeah, we did talk a lot about that during the all hands. Just kind of how we're going to gradually increase the number of extensions we support and so on. But that's still ongoing, I think, unless everything was solved last week, which would be fantastic.
I had totally forgotten all those Phoenix meetings, even though I spent all of last week working on Phoenix communications. Yeah, we should talk about Phoenix. We should definitely talk about Phoenix. So, God, where to start? Yeah, so new Firefox for Android. So initial support just landed for uBlock Origin in Phoenix. So if you have, we talked to the product manager for Phoenix last week. If you haven't gotten the support enabled yet, it's because you're not part of, they're doing incremental rollout. So I think they rolled out to like 5% of the population last week. And I think they're going to be slowly turning that dial up so that everybody on that preview nightly channel is going to be getting that support pretty soon. So if you haven't gotten it yet, just hold tight, it's coming. We also learned that there are like 5 Firefoxes listed on the Google Play Store right now, and it's a lot and it's really confusing. So we learned that a couple of these channels are going to get delisted probably at the end of the month or potentially next month to just kind of streamline it a little bit. But basically extension support should be coming to Firefox Preview Nightly, Firefox Preview, and then I think eventually Firefox for Android Beta. So we're working on an FAQ right now because one of the things that we noticed is that there is some confusion out there in the world about which one actually has the add-on support enabled. And there's a lot of them. So we're trying to help people wayfind with that. So yeah, we have the web extensions APIs built for Phoenix to support uBlock. We're going to be expanding that a little bit more for a couple of other recommended extensions. And then we're going to see after that what else we can support. We do know that we want extensions on Phoenix or the new Firefox for Android experience to be optimized for screen resolutions and to look nice and to feel nice. So that's one of the things that we're considering as we start rolling out support for extensions in Phoenix in the upcoming weeks. So that having been said, it is possible that not all of your favorite desktop extensions are going to be able to work on Phoenix. That's something that we've been talking a lot about internally, and we haven't, there really haven't been any decisions made yet. But it's possible. Any questions about Phoenix?
It'd be nice if they worked first on supporting what the recommended extensions use.
Yeah, that's the plan right now.
Good.
Yeah, Yeah, the popular recommended extensions that have a good mobile use case, that's where we're prioritizing work right now. Yeah. So we're going to be working a lot with Phoenix. So we've had some questions from some developers asking about, is there, a way that they can test their extensions on Phoenix? The answer is not yet. Support just hasn't landed for the API. So we'll let folks know if and when testing becomes available. Yeah. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, we're heading into summer internship season. So we're looking at opening at least 2 internship spots this summer through Google Summer of Code and Outreachy, which is kind of related to Google Summer of Code, but specifically focused towards getting people from underrepresented groups in tech into these internship programs. So the Add-ons group has a couple of projects that they've submitted. It looks like one of them is going to be more on the AMO linter side, and one of them is going to be more on the Firefox web extension side. So one of them is going to be an extension activity monitor. That project is going to be mentored by Rob, Luca, and Andreas. And then we also have a couple of projects from the AMO side, like kind of making some general improvements to the AMO theme wizard. So kind of taking some of the fun things about the Firefox color user interface and moving them into AMO. That was the one that I spent a lot of time with. We're also looking at rewriting extension workshop into either upgrading the current Jekyll. Right now it's on Jekyll 3, so either upgrading to Jekyll 4 or rewriting to a different language like Ally, because the page loads are really slow right now and it's kind of breaking our Circle CI builds. So that's a possibility. And then I think we have a few more. So what I've linked to here is kind of the general Mozilla GSOC proposal. So if you're a student interested in participating in Google Summer of Code or Outreachy, these are 2 great resources to look at. And I think we're starting to see people coming in and fixing their good first bugs to start get a feel for the project and kind of understand the code base a little bit more. Any questions? Okay, awesome. And then my last general update is kind of administrative. It's a little bit more about wayfinding. So Mozilla has launched a couple new platforms and portals in the last couple of months. Some of these are still in beta. And I wanted to give you all a heads up in case you get any questions about it. So the first one is that our community building team, it has launched a community portal. So this is a way that you can go and register. So you can see what current campaigns Mozilla is running, participate in the campaigns. You can list events that you want other people to come to. So if you're running an open source hackathon that has kind of like a Mozilla theme, you can do so through kind of like one community portal. Our folks over on our developer relations team have also created a developer portal. So this is intended to be a front door into MDN based on various technologies or things that you're interested in. Basically, how this is going to work with extensions is we kind of just set up the front door to take you straight to AMO or extension workshop. Because we already have all of the onboarding stuff set up there. But if you're interested in being like a web developer, there's kind of like a front door in that way, or working on developer tools, you can kind of come in through that door. And then the last thing is that we are going to retire Mozilla's IRC instance in March, and we've recently set up a replacement instance on Matrix at chat.mozilla.org. We're not yelling from the wind, or sorry, we're not shouting this out yet from the rooftops, but it's coming it's coming pretty soon that we're going to start transitioning people from one to the other. So you might be seeing some conversations still taking place on IRC, and you might see some other conversations taking place on Matrix. We've set up a couple of general add-ons community channels that are already getting some conversation in them. So if you want to come join us on Matrix, I'll post just some general instructions at the end of this meeting so that you can get onboarded. And then just know that we'll be planning on updating our documentation to point towards Matrix very soon. Gosh, because it's already the middle of February, isn't it? Okay, so that was it. That was all of the updates that I had. Any questions? Okay, anything else that anyone would like to add? All right, good times. So this meeting is going to move, like I mentioned earlier, this meeting is going to move again so that we can get Andreas. So that we can get Andreas in the next one. So this meeting is going to start 9 a.m. Pacific time starting 2 weeks from now. Just hold your calendar. Check your time zone. Jorge's like, I can't make this meeting anymore. Bye. All right, good times. And I guess, yeah, like, actually, speaking of community, Jorge, you were at FOSDEM. Was there anything about browser extensions at FOSDEM this year?
I don't think there was anything specific about it. I know there were some mentions of add-ons in the Mozilla homeroom, but yeah, I would need to dig out like the sessions to try to remember what the connection was, because it was ages ago for me. I've been off for a week, so I don't remember anything I did the week before. But yeah, no, nothing big. Nothing big comes to mind.
Good times. Did you eat any waffles when you were in Belgium? Good, very good. So FOSDEM is a yearly event that happens at the University of Brussels. It's like a big open source gathering. Mozilla usually has a pretty large presence there because we have a lot of folks who are based in Europe, and this is one of the bigger conference, and it's a free conference, which is really great. And they always have like a waffle vendor there, and the waffles are really good. And you can tell what my priorities are. Like, software is great, but waffles are better. Okay, excellent. Well, I'm going to wrap this up then. Thanks everybody for hanging with us. I know there's a lot of new information and links to new things thrown out there. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out, let us know, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.